Fucking roly-poly. Fuck off. Oh, it's dead. Good. Even better. Kingsman: The Golden Circle is the sequel to the 2014 original Kingsman: The Secret Service. It's directed by Matthew Vaughn and stars Taron Egerton, Colin Firth, Mark Strong, Julianne Moore, Jeff Bridges, Channing Tatum, Elton John, you name it, they're in it. I really wanted to sit down here and be energetic. I wanted to say it was as great as the first. I wanted to say it met my expectations for it. I can't say any of those things because I'd be lying to you. I went into this movie with an open mind, despite what I'd read. I love the first movie. I think it's original. It's an action movie we all wanted. I'm losing my voice, by the way, so I'm like trying to keep it down. It's original. It's self-aware. It's funny. It's interesting. It's experimental. And this movie just had to do the same thing to be widely regarded as the first one was. It failed. I trusted Matthew Vaughn as a filmmaker, I guess. He has not let me down yet until now. And, oh my god. I mean, like, it's not just a disappointment. It's a really bad movie. It's a really bad movie, and it's shocking. Shocking how bad it is. It's really surprising, because something had to have gone so wrong. The talent behind this movie, the writing, and the direction, and the acting talent. There's no way this movie should have turned out as bad as it did. But it did. And, like, I don't even know where to begin. I guess I'll start broad and then kind of narrow in on specifics. Because the main reason this movie does not work is the writing. The writing is horrible. It's terrible all across the board, from the plot to the exposition to the dialogue to the characters. It's all bad. And it's really, really weird considering how great the writing was in the first movie. And I guess I'll kind of narrow in the dialogue. It's just so basic. The way they set things up is always through these annoying dialogue, back and forth conversations. And they're always cheesy or cliche or just basic and amateur, and like there was no thought put into it. Like there was no, oh, here's how we're going to sugarcoat it to make it sound like a real person saying this, to make it sound like a meaningful line. Everything just sounded bland and empty and dull, and you never really felt anything with it because there was no substance to it. It was just all very generic. And, like, okay, great. The characters are a low point for this movie. I'll kind of go through each, I guess. Taron Egerton's the best one in this movie. He's really still kind of strong. He has motivation. There's something about him. He's charismatic, and Taron Egerton as a performer helps bring that to life. So at least there's something to connect to still. Colin Firth, I stand by, this movie might have been better if he had been cut completely. I was originally for the idea of him coming back. I went, you know, if there's any film franchise that I'm okay with doing this, it's this one. But the issue is, when he comes back, and I'm spoiling this, I don't care, he's got, like, amnesia, and so they have to spend 45 minutes in a subplot being like, oh, well, how do we cure him of his amnesia? I'm like, I don't care. I want to see the real story. I want to see the real plot. And it's like in Men in Black 2, when they have to spend 30 minutes to get Tommy Lee Jones' fucking memory back so that we can see the Men in Black fight aliens. And in this, it's the same shit. You're just like, well, now we gotta wait 45 minutes until we can actually see the Kingsman do something interesting or fun or impactful, meaningful, anything. We're just sitting here with this repetitive nonsense going on that's supposed to be funny and isn't. And it's just like, stop. Halle Berry is the worst character in this movie by far. In terms of writing, in terms of performance, in terms of everything, she's just bad. Every time she opens her mouth, it's bad. And it's, like I said, it lends itself to her performance not being good, to her character being by far the most basic character in the movie, to the point where when you hit the ending, which is kind of like a hitting point for her character, it made me literally like do this. I just sunk, and I had to sit there and look at it, and I was like, I just said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it anymore. Julianne Moore. She's something. I don't know what she was doing in terms of her performance, but it was really out there and not in a good way. And then her character is just, oh, she's crazy. Okay. I guess that's it. Speaking of characters that don't do anything, let's talk about him. Jeff Bridges, who's in 3 scenes of the movie. It's impossible to judge him as a character, because he's given nothing to work with. He's just the head of the statesman. That's his character. That's what we get. That's it. Okay, Jeff Bridges isn't good in it, because he can't be, because he's not given anything to read in any kind of interesting manner. He's just there to be there, and to set things in motion. So, cool. The other big thing about this movie is how many subplots are going on. And it's no shit, this movie's 2.5 hours long, and it's like 30 minutes too long. Again, if you cut Colin Firth out of this movie, the movie's an hour and 50 minutes long, and I wouldn't have minded that at all, because there's that storyline, there's a storyline about Taron Egerton and his girlfriend, and then there's the story about the bonding with the statesman, and then there's the Julianne Moore story, which feels like a subplot, but shouldn't, because it's the main plot of the movie, but it feels like they're just cutting back to that every now and then, as opposed to it being the main focus of the film and what's driving everything. It never feels like that. And the simple fact is there's too much going on for me to focus in on one thing to care about, and that's why the movie's so damn long, and that's why the movie starts to drag when you get to a point. And it's frustrating how irritating all that stuff is. It really is. You just want it to stop. You want... I wanted the Colin Firth storyline to end so bad, and it just wouldn't. And it finally did, and I was like, thank God we're going to get into this, and then shit keeps happening with him, and it keeps reminding you of how bad that storyline is. And it just... everything keeps popping up, and it never stops. It's just ridiculous. The movie's incredibly predictable. There were no stakes because of how ridiculous the movie is. It's too ridiculous that you never feel tension. You never feel like anything is going to happen to any characters, except for one scene, which I'll give them credit on, and was kind of well done, and I enjoyed. I thought that was okay, and I think when you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. But just as a whole, the movie's very predictable, and not, again, it goes back to the thing that it's just not special, and I could tell you how I thought it was going to end from the first 30 minutes, and I would have been correct, and I was, I think. There's just, it all comes back to this idea that there's nothing special about this movie, because it's either trying to be the first one, it's trying too hard to be the first one, or it's just not trying to be anything. It's just a generic action movie, and I don't think the movie knows what it wants to be. It's not an action movie, and it's not a comedy movie. It has aspects and elements of both of those things, but it's never either of them. It's just, it's this back and forth of, like, I don't know what the movie's intention is. I don't know what it wants to make me feel. I don't know what I should be thinking when I walk out of this movie. I wasn't thinking anything except for negative things. Again, like I said, Taron Egerton was good in it, and then there are a couple action scenes I liked that reminded me of the first one, and why the first one was good. They're not great action. There's 2 that like stick out in my mind as being good, but there are a lot of bad action scenes, like the first one. That, just like I said, goes too far. It's too ridiculous for there to be any stakes or any tension or any intensity. You just don't feel anything. You just go, well, that was a scene. Let's keep going. It just, nothing in this movie feels meaningful. And I just feel sad talking about it, if you couldn't tell. I just feel depressed. Ugh. That's it. Number rating, 2 or 3 out of 10. Leaning more towards a 2. I'm going to probably see it again. Maybe I'll notice more. Maybe more good things, maybe more bad things. Don't see it. Stick to the first one. The first one should just stand on its own. You never have to worry about seeing an inconsistent character with Colin Firth. The movie's very inconsistent. Like, I kind of went back to action to comedy, to comedy to action, to whatever the fuck the movie's trying to be. All the characters are inconsistent. They do things that just don't make sense. Things their characters wouldn't do. It's inconsistent the entire way through. And it's just not worth seeing this movie. It's not worth the frustration or the infuriation. It's just really not. I don't think it is. Stick to the first one. The first one stands on its own phenomenally. Stick to the first one. So, what did you guys think? Have you seen Kingsman: The Golden Circle? Have you not seen Kingsman: The Golden Circle? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.